Hey, it's Megan. Welcome to another Acumatica Essentials tutorial from Contigo. We're going through an overview of Acumatica's most popular modules and showing you what a cloud-based ERP system can do for your business. Right now, we'll be covering the Accounts Receivable module. Is processing incoming payments a pain? Is keeping track of your receivables keeping you up at night? Let's take a look at how you can tackle that like a pro in Acumatica 2020. Let's start on the AR Clerk dashboard. Really quickly, I can see who my top overdue customers are, and I can see who my most active salespeople are. I can also see items that require my attention, like a customer on credit hold that I need to follow up with. I can also see the accounts that are overdue, so here I can see I have 16 accounts that are overdue 90 days. Let's drill down. When the generic inquiry opens up, it's opened up onto the filter. So we're only going to see our 16 records that we saw on the dashboard. In this generic inquiry, I can sort and filter based on the column headers, or I could add an additional filter. So I'm going to filter these largest to smallest. And I'm going to start here by clicking on the customer ID for AgriLink Food. The customer record has opened, and really quickly here I can see the email and the phone number, so I can give them a call or send them an email to follow up about their overdue balances. I can take a look under the inquiries to get more information about their account, as well as their reports. So I could run their AR aging report here. I also have the option to generate a statement on demand or to regenerate their previous statement to send to them as well. Under the Activities tab, I can also see any customer relationship activities that have occurred. So here we can see we've got some conversations that we've had, we've emailed them some documents. So all of that, all tracked in Acumatica, and really quickly you have a good view and a good understanding of what's happening on the customer before you pick up the phone or send that email. Now let's talk about how to create invoices in Acumatica. We're going to be focusing on the standard accounts receivable invoices type, but you can also create invoices out of the projects, sales order, or contract management modules as well. You can click on the new invoice tile or the plus new icon to create a new record, or click on the menu item to open the list. So a few weeks ago, we sold a customer a number of laptops from our wholesale branch, and now we're going to send someone from our services branch to go and set up all their laptops for them. So I'm going to go and create a new record. And as you may have noticed, the color at the top of the screen switched from blue to burgundy. So this is maintained on the branches and companies form. And this is consistent for all users across Acumatica. So really quickly, I can tell which company or branch I'm in. I'm going to start by populating our customer name. Using the type ahead feature, I'm just going to select this one. And I can go ahead and I can enter some other information. Here you can see we're getting a little pop-up warning, they're past due. So we're going to need to follow up with them after this, but we've maybe already sent our person out to site. Down below, I'm going to populate our inventory ID so I can use a non-stock item. So I'm going to send a consultant. I can't use a stock item in the AR invoices form. This needs to go through the sales order module so that the inventory records can be updated. I'm going to send them for 3 days. The unit price has come in. They're a pretty loyal customer, so we're going to give them a discount. I can select by percent or amount. As I'm going across, the account and sub-account have been populated for us based on the item, and the salesperson ID based on the customer. We can update the tax category, and we can also select whether this item should have commission charged on it. We can also enter items without an inventory ID. So if we have a more generic item, we're going to charge them for a per diem. It's not an inventory item that we want to maintain in the system. I'm going to charge them 3 days at $100. The extended price will calculate. And as we scroll across, we're seeing all of the same things we saw before. When we go to the tax details tab, we can see the tax amount that's been calculated here for these items. When we go and look at the commission, we can see the commission that's been calculated. And if we take this item off of hold, we're going to see that the status is going to update to pending approval. And on the approval details, it's going to JSON. So let's see why that's happening. On the accounts receivable preferences form, we have an active approval map for accounts receivable invoices. When we open it up, we see that there are a number of steps, and one of our steps is called line discount over 50%. So our one line has a discount of 55%, and so it's going to go to JSON. Back on our invoice, I'm logged in as Maxwell. He's above Jason on the company tree, so I can approve on his behalf. I'm going to choose to reject this. We don't want to give them a 55% discount. It should be 5. So now our status is rejected. We can go back to our document, put it back on hold so that we can edit it. And I'm just going to update our discount percent from 55 to 5. As I tab through to the other fields, the discount should update here. And so now all the other things will update. Our tax details have updated. Our commission has updated. So let's take this off hold. It's no longer needing approval. It doesn't meet any of the criteria on the approval map. So it's just going straight to the balance status. We can email this invoice out to the customer. It's going to process and our activities will be updated. So now we have our activity here. It's tracked on the customer and we can release this. On the financials details tab, we can see the batch number that's been created. So this is our general ledger batch that's linked to this record. Now let's look at how we can record a payment from this customer. So on the receivables workspace, we can enter a new payment by clicking on the new payment tile or the plus new icon here beside the payments and applications item, or open that and press the plus icon there. Or directly from the invoice, we can go to Actions, Enter Payment, Apply Memo. It's brought over our line items from the customer. So we had the Pay by Line option enabled for this customer so we can pay each line individually. You can also turn that feature off and then we would just see one line here for the total value of the invoice. We can go ahead and load other documents. So I'm just going to remove the branch here and press load. And we can also bring in our invoices from our other branches. Because we have the interbranch module enabled and set up on our demo environment here, we can record payments from multiple branches in a single transaction. So they've sent us one check for, invoices from both branches. It happens, don't really want it to, it's always a pain, but you can handle it in Acumatica. So I'm going to refresh the total. But when I refresh the total, I realize that this doesn't actually match up with the check that I have in front of me. Maybe it's only for $29.95. So they've short paid us by 5 cents. Maybe their system rounded a little bit differently than ours when they entered our invoice. So I'm going to open this, change this here. They've short paid us. It's only 75 cents. And we've got a balance left on this invoice of 5 cents. So we can write this off here using our write-off amount column. So for a small write-off, this is based off of our customer settings here. So we can see that they have a write-off limit of $10 and write-offs have been enabled. So we can write off that 5 cents really quickly, all in one transaction. Enter any sort of information here. So they're going to pay by check and we can say which account we want it to go into. We're going to pick our checking account. We've got a payment reference number. So now we have all the information we want. This matches up with our check. And I'm going to go ahead and release our payment. Once this processes, everything's going to have moved to the application history tab. So here we can see the 3 line items are the 3 items that were paid. And on the financial details tab, we can see our AR batch number. And when I open this up, what we'll see is that the system has automatically done some due to from entries to account for our interbranch transaction between our Services East branch and our Product Wholesale branch. We've also got our line here for our 5 cents of bad debt that was short paid. Now let's go talk about statements. I'm going to switch back to our Products Wholesale branch and I'm going to go to our receivables workspace. And the first thing that we need to do before we can run our statements is that we need to make sure that we've applied all of our payments and also processed any overdue charges. So I've applied all the payments already I want to apply. So let's go calculate our overdue charges. And we're going to do this for March 31st for our month end statements. And we need to pick our statement cycle. I only have 1 in the system, but you could have as many as you required. I'm going to go ahead and calculate, and it's going to pick up all the items that need an overdue charge. As we scroll across, we can see the amount of these charges. And I can go ahead and say process all. Now that we've processed these charges, we need to just make sure that all of our items are released. So from the receivables menu, I'm going to go to the mass processing release AR document screen. So previously we've shown how to release individual documents using the actions release or the release button there, but we also have the option to release items all together. So I'm going to go ahead here, select them all and hit release. I can also hit release all without selecting them all without the check marks. So now they've all processed. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. And back on the receivables menu, I'm going to go ahead and prepare my statements. I'm going to do this again. It's an end of month statement. So I'm going to do it for March 31st. Select my statement cycle I want to run. So we can see that we've last run the finance charges on that date. And our next statement date should be the 31st. So I'm going to go ahead and process. Now our statements have processed. So let's go and print and email them out. So we've got an option here called print statements. And I'm actually going to select the email option and I'm going to pick my statement cycle. And it's automatically brought in our last date here. And we can see that we have one that we want to email. We've set it off as don't print. We can also click the show all button to see everyone's statement. So maybe only specific customers we want to actually send it out. So back here, I'm just going to check off this one here and we're going to be emailing it. I could write a custom message on there. If maybe you had something seasonal you wanted to say, maybe about year end or a quarter end. I'm going to go ahead and process. And this has now been emailed out. Back on the receivables workspace, I'm just going to go show all here. And we've got our statement history details. So here we can see all of the actions that have been done for our statements. So as we scroll down here, we should be able to see our one that we've emailed out here for AgriLink Food. As well, I can click on any of them. So I'm just going to go and pick this one and I can print their statement if I want to. So just because they have selected don't print as a preference, maybe they called you up, they want you to send them a copy of their statement, you can do that from the statement history page. So here we can see the items that are outstanding. So we don't have time to show you in this video, but one of the other things that's a great feature in Acumatica is the customer portal. This allows your customers to log into Acumatica to access their invoices and statements as well as submit orders and cases. This can help you save time on those calls and emails of, can you send me all my missing invoices that you get after you send out your statements? We've already looked at how to run a customer statement, but there are a few other reports and accounts receivable I want to take a quick glance at. The first one I want to look at is the customer details inquiry. This is an interactive inquiry type report. So we can run for specific companies and branches, for specific customers, periods, currencies, and even AR accounts and sub-accounts. By default, it opens to your open items, but you can also select the option to show all documents. So this will include anything that you've ever recorded in your system. You can also choose to include your unreleased documents. So these are documents with a balanced or on hold or pending approval type of status. We can see here quickly our document totals of open items, as well as we have the option to choose whether to include any child accounts. So this is if you have related parent-child relationships between the customers in your system. In the receivables workspace, we also have a PDF printed type of version of that report called your AR balance by customer. So this is your open items. Anything ending in MC stands for multi-currency. So we also have aging reports here. So I'm going to start with the AR aging multi-currency report. I'm going to run it for today's date for our current branch. When it opens up, I have the option to print, send, or export it as Excel or PDF file. It's grouped by customer as well as by the past due dates. Your aging periods are configurable in your system based on your company requirements. As well, you can choose to have your aging either based on the document date or the due date. This is a preference you set up in the system. I'm going to go scroll 2 pages to find a customer that has invoices that are not in the US dollars. So USD is our base currency for this system. And this customer, this Caribbean Secretary Online, their invoices are in euros. So here we can see we've got a total in euros. And then down below, we have the converted amount in US dollars. So we're seeing both currencies in the single report. In the receivables workspace, we also have a report that's essentially the inverse of this report, telling you when you can expect to receive the cash for the items that are open. And you also have a period sensitive report. So you can run this one at month end. You can run it after the fact to get your actual AR as of a specific date. And there's a few other reports as well, but those are kind of the ones that we want to highlight that we haven't shown already in this video. Thanks for watching. Want to learn more? Visit our website at contigogroup.ca/Acumatica or check out the rest of the videos in our Acumatica Essentials series.